I think one thing that we can all agree about is that there should be more that is being taught about financial literacy in our schools. But then what about our homes? When should we start to teach kids on about money? When should we teach children on the various rules surrounding money? In this video, we try to examine some of the research that has gone into this and examine when is the best time to start teaching kids about money, what exactly should you teach kids about money, and the rest. So come along with me. So the first question is, at what age are we supposed to start talking to kids about money? What age do we start to mention things around money? What age should we say, hey, you need to learn about this and things like that? So one of the most popular personal finance authors, Robert Kiyosaki, in his book Rich Dad Poor Dad, spoke about how he started to learn about money from his rich dad from an early age of 9. So there is indication there that you can start from as early as 9. But I'm going to be giving you insights from this report that was put by CNBC. And so they asked the number of finance experts what time is best to start, teaching your kids about money. So the first guy said the best time is as soon as they start asking questions, as soon as they become curious, it's the best time to introduce. So he was suggesting from 3 to 4 when they start to ask a lot of questions around the house. Oh, what's this? What's that? It's the best time to introduce personal finance or topics about money to your kids. So many other people argued in the report that you can start from 7 to 8. Some say the best time is when they are teenagers. So if you ask me, I don't think there is a best time based on all of the books that I've read or everything that I've researched. But I think the key thing that we want to mention here is that it's good to introduce the topic of money to our kids from as early as possible. So I don't think they're too young to start talking about money. So as soon as they start to ask questions from me, as soon as they become curious about, and you're teaching them about everything else, include topics about money, include topics about savings, investing, and just make it become a part of them as they grow up. Now we have established that it's very important to teach your kids about money and personal finance from a very early age. The next question is, how do we go about teaching them? That children basically observe or learn by watching. So they learn a lot by seeing what you do. If you are always pressing your phone, there's a likelihood that your child will always request for your phone to go about that. So the first thing is that you want to lead by example. So you want to show them that it's prudent, depending on the age anyway. You want to show them that, oh, this is how I spend money, this is how I save, this is how I get my salary. Just make it as practical as possible in your everyday life, and then they would emulate it. The second way is to inculcate this in their everyday material. So these days we have a lot of child-friendly shows about money. So people have developed a lot of TV shows, YouTube shows, games that try to educate kids on money. So that's one thing you want to do at an early age. Let them start to watch TV shows or play games that stimulate their mind to understand that money is important, personal finance is very important. You also want to get them to read books about money from a very early age. So there will be kid-friendly books for people who are probably under 10, and then as they get to teenagers, to teenage age, they can start to read a lot more complex books that break down personal finance to their understanding. So the third thing that we can also do is to have conversations with them about money. So it's one thing to put them onto shows that speak about money. It's one thing to show them example. It's also important to discuss money with them. So you can ask them questions like what do you think, what do you understand by salary, or how do you think people make money? What have you learned from some of the shows that you've been watching, or some of the books that you read? So engage them in conversations to get a feel of how they feel about money, or their understanding of money and personal finance, and where possible correct misconceptions or help them put them in the right light, basically. So those are some of the ways to teach them about money and ensure that they get that background from early on. So this takes me to the next part, which is what exactly should we be teaching them about money. One thing you want to teach your kids is understanding the difference between wants and needs. So and making sure that they understand needs are things like basic clothing, food, shelter, and the rest, and making them understand that wants might be maybe things like trips and so many other things that are maybe not necessarily important at the beginning. You want to carry out exercises even in the household to say, to point at things within the house to say, okay, is this bed a need or a want, for instance? Is our fridge or our freezer, is it a need or a want? Is our TV a need or a want? So start to have those exercises with them and get them to understand the difference between what a need is and what the want is. Something else you can teach them is how to earn money. So it could be volunteering at charity stores and getting paid for it. It could be carrying out chores in the house. So you ask them to carry out this a number of chores at home, and then you pay them for that. It could be seeking out work that pays kids. So these days we have like some jobs that children are allowed to work in. So all of those different avenues that allows them to commit their time and get a reward in form of money for it could also start to explain the concept of earning a salary or earning an income to them. Another concept you want to teach your kids is the concept of savings and taxes. So basically, let's say you pay them for chores that they've carried out at home, and before the chore you have an agreement to say, oh, we're going to pay you, or I'm going to pay you £10 for this chore that you're going to do, or the chores that you're going to carry out at home. And when it's time to make the payment, you take out maybe £2 from it to say, oh, this is taxes, basically. And when they ask question, you say this is basically how earnings work. When you earn an income, the government takes a bit from it. So the £2 I'm taking from you is taxes. So they get to understand how taxes work in the economy. You can also teach them savings. So whatever money they earn, give them a savings target to say, I want you to save, £10. I want to save £20 every month. Whatever arrangement you think you can make, but let them understand that the concept of, taxes when you earn and savings. So as they grow, it doesn't become really foreign to them. Another concept you want to teach them is the concept of lending, interest, and you do this by, acting as their creditor. So let's say your child wants to buy something or has been keen on getting something and is probably impatient about, saving for it. You can act as a lender to the person and say, oh, I'm going to give you, £100 to buy your game, to buy your gadget, whatever it is that you want to buy. And then you have to pay me back so amount. Basically, you're going to have to pay me this with your savings. That, lets them understand the concept of savings, interest, delayed gratification, all of those concepts. You can also offer savings incentives to your kids so they can understand a concept like pension. So where you promise them a matching contribution for whatever they save. So if you tell your kid that, if you save, £20, for example, in 2 months, I'm going to give you an extra £20 to match the £20 that you have. That way they get to understand some of the concept around, pension contributions. Personally, I learned a lot of things around personal finances, savings, investments, real estate, even budgeting from my mom when I was growing up. So when you go to the market, before you go to the market, you have to write out the list of the things that you want to buy and then the amount, by the side, so that you don't go to the market and you overspend or whatever the case was back then. But basically, we always work with a budget when we're going to the market, and I was very much involved in the process with my mom. So we're going to buy bread for this amount, we're going to buy this for this amount, we're going to buy that for them. So naturally, as I grew up, I had that budgeting mindset. There was also a lot of conversations we had around savings, things around like real estate, how putting your money in real estate can help with your passive income in future, and all those kind of conversations. So it even helped me pick the course. So it helped me study accounting, basically. So by the time I was growing up, it was just easy to say, okay, I want to do accounting, just because I had these lessons that made me closer to topics around money and the likes. So it just goes to show you how parenting at home, or how just talking about personal finance and the rest can just help your child from an early age inculcate some healthy finance habits. If you liked this video and the tips that I share a lot more like this on my Instagram, and I'll be sharing more on this YouTube page as well. So like, subscribe, share with everyone, family, friends, and the likes. And if you have any tips for how to inculcate personal finance, or how to ensure that kids learn more about personal finance, about money in general, let us know in the comments. I'm sure that everyone that's listening and watching will want to also hear from you. Thank you. Sorry. We started. See, we're starting now. It's not a lights, camera, action.